So this has just been a pathway to where I was like, let me test to see what will be current skill sets, and then also skill sets that will help me to start mirroring my, previous work career, to be indicators to whether or not, what will that look like for my future. So that was one thing that really completely resonated with me. And I understood that even in this space, I was going to have some limitations. And then also being, how was I going to be able to kind of do some pivoting and understanding through my, current limitations, then what kind of resources and what kind of help I would need to have. And so I was able to communicate that. And then, of course, it was getting the feedback and then also the responses to, this is how you could make this work, even in this process of your limitations. So I greatly appreciated that. So no, this is completely my very first time just engaging in something of this nature.
Good. Well, for a first timer, you're doing fantastic. So I want you to tell them your story about the first client that you've received, that you got.
Yes. So as I was stated earlier, that I've been in recovery from an accident. And so then part of that, I've been having to do a lot of medical appointments, have a lot of therapies. And so one actually, I was connected to a chiropractor. And so then I was just like, well, I've been listening to these master classes. So let me just test. Let me just test. So I was like, well, hey, I've been kind of listening to this. I was speaking to my chiropractor, and I was like, I've been listening to these master classes in terms of, marketing, social media. I said, how is your social media? And, I was like, what's going on with your website? Because I kind of visited her website, and I was like, I don't know what's going on with this website. But right. So she was like, well, I really don't have any social media. She's like, my website is just crashed. And I was like, well, I'm just kind of venturing out, just kind of testing the waters to see, as part of my, I would say, occupational therapy, just to see like how I could, be of service, and then just to kind of test myself. And so she was like, well, yeah, I would be interested. I said, so we'll tell you what, let me create a proposal, and let me do an intake also. So I met with her 2 times in person, just was doing some questioning, and asking her about like, what is her goal? What does she see in terms of her ideation, visionary in terms of, maybe doing a rebranding with logo design, and then also what would be like her colors, what is some of her pain points, and what is some things that she would just like to see develop just in her business. So of course, I was listening to her pain points, which was, she doesn't like, processing insurance. She knew that she wanted a different logo. We talked about like what images resonated with her, what was her colors, and then also that she recognized that she needed to really to have, to really start having some marketing and awareness of who she was and what she offers, so that way she could have some new patients. So with that information, what I did was I went to Lorette and I was like, hey, I got this going on. She was like, well, there's some templates in terms of what proposals need to look like. Work with Lorette as far as like what would be kind of maybe price points. And so Lorette was very helpful in just saying that, what, just right now, just start with a foundation package. And I was like, yes, foundation. So that was a logo. It was like website, doing the project management. I added some things also because in part of my discussion with the chiropractor, I was like, so who are you serving and who do you want to serve? So she had like no awareness of who she was currently serving, and then, trying to pivot in who she would want to serve. So I was like, well, what I'll also do is I'll create a patient survey, so you can give that out to your patients. So then that way we can kind of see who you're really serving by your demographics. I said, and also what would be really nice and cool is that, why don't we also include, um, you know, the logo designs, so that way you're building some engagement with your patients versus you're just kind of their chiropractor, right? So you're kind of starting to build some kind of community. So she was like, that's a great idea. Met with her, and then when I met with her and actually doing the proposal, I did the presentation in the colors that she had, given to me. So that way I'm presenting some continuity, and then also some imagery to where she can see how these colors would actually work together. So from that, she was like, after the presentation, because I had the template that I got from Lorette, and I was like, well, is there anything that was missing or anything that you would like to see? She was like, no, this was great, more than I expected. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, well, this is going to be the rate. And I was like, well, you know, we can do a payment plan. She was like, nope, I'll just go ahead and do everything in full, and just immediately just paid me. And I was like, oh my God, now what am I going to do? Oh my God. I was like, oh my God, Lorette. So anyway, because, you know, I wasn't
We were
expecting, I was like,
actually in a session when the payment came through. I remember that. You're like, I just
yeah,
got the payment when we
yeah,
were on the phone. Yep, I remember
yeah.
that.
So it was just like, oh my goodness, I guess, oh my gosh, I got a, you know, my first client, like the very first conversation that I've had just through this process. So that was really exciting. So I've just been working with her really hands-on. And then also what I've enjoyed is that even though I was pacing myself and I was running into some challenges because, you know, she's so busy, I'm like, well, I'm trying to extract this information so I can get my work done. So what has been helpful is definitely having, I onboarded with the VA to really help me. But then also what I've had to learn through this process is to kind of, as Lorette was telling me and Alicia was like, let this kind of be to where you're building like a case study, right? So I knew that it was going to be very important for me to be extremely hands-on, to be as detailed as possible, because I am learning more about how to engage with clients, but then also learning more about like what is in my capacity in terms of what is going to be the digital agency, right? To say this is definitely in the wheelhouse of what I'm able to do. And then also being able to recognize, oh, that's outside of the wheelhouse. So what resources do I need to get, and what other questions do I need to ask to make sure that I am providing these resources? So with the chiropractor, it's been really good in terms of, you know, the logo. You know, we've actually done a overhaul just on her Facebook. She's starting to get some engagement with that. Folks are actually starting to say, well, I need to make an appointment. So also with her, I was like, well, where are your professional photos? She's like, I don't have it. And I was like, okay. So what I ended up doing actually was really fun. Again, I didn't recognize what capacity or what knowledge or things that I'm able to do, which was kind of, it's a discovery process even for myself, right? So she was like, well, I was like, okay, well, so what I ended up doing was interviewing photographers to actually to do a photo shoot. I was also interviewing makeup artists, right? To make sure that she was going to look the best as possible for this, you know, photography for this photo shoot. So then that way we'll have professional photos for her social media and then also for the website. So then she was like, well, what am I going to wear? And I was like, well, okay. So what I ended up doing was actually creating, I had an ideation in terms of colors that would work best for her based upon who she is and the tone and how her clinic presents. So I created a style guide. And then with
Wow.
the style guide, I was able to actually find the attire that would work best for her, ended up inserting the links so that she could actually, you know, not taking the extra time to find these things, but she could order right there on the spot. So created that. And so then this past Saturday, we had the photo shoot. And so she came with all of this stuff and she was like, well, I just need you to kind of, not a problem. I was able to instantly, this is going to be for, you know, the first set, this is going to be for the second set, this is going to be for the third set. After the makeup artist done, I was like, no, I don't like this, I need you to do this, you know. So I was instantly making changes because I'm working from a vision that she's communicated to me, and so I'm always holding that in the forefront of my head when I'm working with her. So again, what I've learned is that I think the beauty of this for me is everything that I've done up until now, as far as, you know, from teenage, from my 20s, you know, I'm not going to give you my current age, but from my younger years, right, is that all of these things are actually coming together synergistically. You know, for a season, I was a makeup artist. For a season, I was a stylist. My profession has been an administrator. So, right, so it's all about processes. So what I've learned is that taking confidence in all of the things that I've done before actually is for my current time. And so, what I really wanted to share and express is that be confident in what all of the things that you have done, because all of the things that you've done to where you're actually launching your business or you're starting something new, that is your success, right? So you've done all things before. So it's like sitting and taking account for what you've done, because again, that is helping you to be for your present, and not to be shy about what you've done, and don't discredit yourself. So before I was like, well, I probably should be charging these rates, which were lower rates, because I'm like, well, I'm a new person. I'm new starting into this business venture. Lorette was quick to say, nope, that's not even it. She was like, you charge the
Mhm.
right and the right rate. Don't get caught up in what somebody else is doing. So just know that what you charge is is because of all of these other experiences, all of the wisdom that you've had from previous times, previous careers, right? All of that is what is who you are. And so who you are right now, that actually speaks to what you can charge, because all of that is your intellectual property, and that's the value that you're bringing to your clients. So don't be shy in thinking like, well, I haven't done this. No, you haven't done this as of right now, but all of what you've done has made the time and the space for you to do this right now. So don't be shy about that. So take confidence in all of who you are, and knowing that standing in that is going to be so important, because presenting in all of who you are, that's the confidence. And when you go and speaking to clients, so it's like, I may be new. Yes, you may be new. I may be nervous. I was extremely nervous, but I was able to stand firmly in taking account of my intellectual property. So it's very important to take account of that.
Definitely. And I remember when we were talking about pricing, you wanted to lower them. And I said, you need to increase your
Yes.
prices, if anything. And you did. You increased your prices. And then what happened?
Yeah, so I increased my prices actually for my second client. So what I found has been working is that, so I've just been sharing with my friends, and I would tell you, I still do not have a website. Lorette's been like, where's your website? I'm like,
But
yeah,
I
yeah,
actually like that you have that, because a lot of people use that as an excuse, right? Oh, I can't do it because I don't have a website. She doesn't have a website, and look at what she's doing. So don't let that stop you. Keep moving, keep moving.
yes.
Yeah.
So I do not have a website yet. It's coming. However, so what I've been doing, I've just been sharing with friends and sharing with, just people that's actually just in my support group, people that I know, like, hey, I've been doing this work with my chiropractor. Guess what this is? I'm having like fun doing this. And so as they are hearing about what I'm doing, they're like, I want that too. So I just actually, Lorette was like, yeah, you need to increase those rates. So I pretty much doubled my rates with my current client. And so it was not an issue. It was just like, yeah, automatically. So I
They didn't
did that,
even question it.
no question, right? Did the intake, did the proposal, sent that over immediately, signed the proposal, and did the down payment. Like it was nothing. And I was just like, oh, wow. So again, I just had another intake phone call last Sunday with someone who's wanting to, have an accountability and a blueprint for her to build a consultancy. So again, it's all of that, just having conversations and then sharing. And so what I'm finding out is that other people are starting to talk and then send people my way. So it's very important. I really appreciate what Erin was saying in terms of, building that, cultivating a relationship. So for me, I am very intentional about cultivating a relationship. And so what Lorette and Alicia has been really good to mentor me about is that don't feel like you need to put everything in the proposal and in the kitchen sink. So with cultivating and thinking long term for building a client relationship is, Lorette was like, no, do a foundation package. And Elise was like, yes. So then you would say the next phase would look like this. So you're continuously helping your client to evolve, right, through different phases, which is also indicating that you're evolving as well. But don't, because they can get overwhelmed by you're trying to do everything at one time. So if you're doing things foundation, your next phase is going to look like this, then you're continuously keeping them as a client, and then you're continuously generating revenue with one client, right? So always be thinking long term, but then also cultivating the relationship and thinking in terms of phases.
Yes, excellent. And so with that, so like you said, you're now working with some additional clients. You have the chiropractor, and you're going to keep getting more. You're going to keep getting referrals and people talking about you. So that's fantastic. So let's see, we have some people saying, have the conversation, cultivate a relationship. So when you were working with a chiropractor and you were helping her with the photo session, the style, like you can tell that you have a sincere interest in her success. You're building that relationship. You care, right? And I like Janaya said that you had a solution to every problem, right?
Yeah.
So you are her solution person, your one-stop shop. I don't know what to wear. Well, I bet Marseille can help me. I don't know, how do I get pictures? Let me ask Marseille. Like, you are her solution for everything, which is great. That's what you want to be.
Yeah.
So let's see. Chandra says valuing intellectual property, a very good tip. Yes. And Chandra also says you have provided so much value to your client, and your client's going to remember that. They're going to remember the person that took so much interest in their business, and they weren't just there to collect a check. It makes a big difference.
Yes. And then I've also been working with her to help her to actually, how can her website start generating revenue? So again, it's still adding that extra value to where I was able to actually find a supplement store that only will align to professionals, right? To professionals in terms of who are licensed. So then now we're integrating this supplement store on her website. So it's thinking of ways of to where her website can be profitable. So, right. So again, it's adding that value, but in the best interest to where, how can I also help to think through creating like passive incomes for her? Because then guess what? She's not going to have time to manage that, right? The store. So
Right.
guess probably going to have to help manage that.
Yeah, and you're going to have to get paid to manage that too.
Exactly. Yes.
All right. So a question from Annie. Annie says, where did you get the images for her? So I'm guessing the social media images. How did you create the survey? And so we'll do those two first. So how did you get the images and how did you create the survey?
So as far as for the images, is it images for the logo or images for the style guide?
We'll just answer them both.
Okay. So images for the logo. So actually, again, we found a freelancer, and then what she told me as far as like her colors, and I knew that her colors, and I also knew that she wanted to have something with a spine. So that information was, gathered, provided to the freelancer. The freelancer provided us with 3 different images as far as like what would be ideal for the logo with all of those, things, right? So then we just kind of uploaded those logos provided to her so she could make a, look at those. She was like, I don't know, I kind of like them all. I already knew which one was the one, right? I knew which one was the one. But then feedback from her patients was the still same one. And then she was like, okay, I like that one. So then, of course, me and the VA was like, we knew it. This was the one. So that's where I got the images for the logo. So that was freelanced out. In terms of images for the style guide, because I knew the colors that was going to work best for her, I actually went to Pinterest. I lifted some of those, I would say the colors and what they would look like in terms of the blouses, the shirts with the slacks. So I was able to lift those images off Pinterest so that she could see how those colors would work. Then from there, I had an idea of where she could probably find those items to where it would be not to break in the bank, right? So then I would go to those websites like Learn in New York. It would be like Ann Taylor. I found pretty much the same style, the same colors. Then I was able to lift those images, put them into a Google, the Google like kind of the Google PowerPoints, right? So then I was able to upload those images, and then I was able to lift the link and also put that on the same as the Google slide, right? And so then as I was able to add those additional slides, then of course, with the Google slides, then I just kind of saved it and then inserted that in the email with the itinerary for the actual photo shoot day. And what was the next question?
And then the last one is creating the survey. So you did that through Google Forms, right?
Yes. So I created the survey. So I created the survey. Actually, I did a little bit of research on surveys for demographics. And so, yes, I did. I was pulling the survey demographics, which was pretty much, age, your earnings, what is your cultural background, how do you identify, the basic demographics. Then also I pulled my own questions in terms of what do we want to know, right? Why did you start seeing, Dr. Tammy? Uh, how did you find out about Dr. Tammy? How long have you been attending? So, what is something that you enjoy most about coming here? And what is something that you would change, right? So, those were like open ended questions to where they actually could respond. Then I also had a place to where what would be like your testimonial? Are you okay if, we publish your testimonial on the website? Yes. So, anyway, and then I also had to where the next section was, what is your vote on the logo design? Which one sticks out, resonates with you most? So again, the demographics, you can just pretty much just find basic demographics like on the website. But then those other questions is really like, what do you need to know? Why they're showing up? What causes them to stay? How did they find out? And what was the reason why, and then what was the solution? So it's asking those questions to where they can really share personally their whys and their reasons. And then you can use that information to where as you're thinking about marketing and you're thinking about what needs to be really captivated on the website, what needs to be kind of capitalized through the social media, right? Because you can really say about these solutions. And so, yes, again, I do agree with one person said it was like you're kind of like the one-stop shop. Yeah, I just kind of morphed myself into the one-stop shop because even in another conversation, I was like, well, what's your LLC status? She was like, I don't know. So let me go to the Secretary of State. This is your status. This has been in history. Your status is about to expire. Here's the form that you need to complete. Complete this form by this deadline, right? So again, it's just been asking those questions in terms of a business mindset, like what does a business need? Because she was saying that she shared with me, she said, when I went to the chiropractic school, they taught me to be a chiropractor, right? They didn't teach me about running a business or what to do for a
Exactly.
business. So again, the work that you're doing, knowing that there's such a need for it, because a lot of times folks that are in business, they're doing something from a place of passion. They don't have the wheelhouse or even the time to even to think through processes or what they would need to have a strong business. So just know that positioning yourself to really kind of being a business owner and thinking and looking through their lens as far as like what they need, because they're just doing what they know to do, which is the skill set that they want to do or the passion they want to do. So they need someone to walk alongside them to really have a strong foundation for their business, having a structure and pillars to where they will actually have the capacity to really grow and to make sure that their business is going to be, there for the longevity. So a lot of times businesses are not able to even to move past the 3 to 5 year mark because they don't have the structures that's in place, right? So I think I was looking at a study that says like there's like over what 2 million folks that folks that start off like in business don't even get past the second level to where they're benchmarking beyond the $24,000 is because they don't know the foundation or the structure. So how much more of an audience or how much more of the potential of clients just to get folks to where they are able to have a structure in place to move them from 0 to 24K. So the work that you do, know that there's a market and don't feel like, oh my gosh, like I don't, this is going to be so overloaded because everybody else is signing up to do digital marketing, right? But they're not you. And remember that who you are, your intellectual property, there's a need for that.
Yes. And everybody's different. Everybody has different intellectual property. You
Yes,
bring different things to the table and they all hold a high value. So that's excellent. So the other question to go along with that was, out of this, what part of it are you outsourcing? Are you outsourcing of it?
yes, I'm outsourcing a lot. So I'm outsourcing really, like I said, what has definitely worked and been, I would say, a lifesaver for me is really I'm outsourcing like a VA. So I have a VA, and I found the VA through Lorette, and because she was like actually a speaker for one of our sessions. So she's a VA, and then using that black book, there's a black book we have. Yes, it's been
Yeah.
golden. So I'm outsourcing a lot of that. So the VA is pretty much doing the heavy lifting with actually finding the logo designers. I'm like, this is what I'm looking for this person, for this client. So she will find freelancers that fits the ideation, right? She'll give me like three. I'll be like, this is the one. I'll look at their work. This is the one. We're outsourcing the website. We're outsourcing what needs to be the e-store. So all of that is outsourced, and most of our outsourcing is that we're finding our freelancers through Fiverr.
Mhm. All right. And I know like you outsource the website for the chiropractor,
Yes.
right? Definitely. Good. All right. Next question. So first, Lori says you are amazing. So much talent. Thank you, Marcel. So helpful. Rose says this is so good. Next one, Maria asks, if you were not an expert in social media and marketing, how did you know what to do? Like, how did you know you were supposed to do the website, then the logo, like the foundation? How did you know what to do?
Lorette. That's my answer, right? So like I didn't know any of this, right? It was just actually you know, I always say the most important thing is um when I was seeing the master classes, right? Alicia so resonated with me. So I was like, you know what, this is an opportune time to really to invest in myself, right? Or and invest into this expertise, invest into this knowledge because I have no idea where to start, how to get this set up, right? So because I said yes to this investment, and then also what I've appreciated about this investment is that Alicia and Lorette are so hands-on. Anytime I've had a question or I feel like I'm stuck, there's always a response and there's always an answer. And even through the digital agency, the what I've invested in, everything is really kind of spelled out like step one, step two, step three, step four, right? To where I'm looking at the modules. Now, I will say that I have not looked through all the modules. I'm just kind of like, I am freelancing this myself, right? I'm just like, right? But then also with that, again, I didn't know anything. It's just been, gleaning from Alicia and Lorette. It's like, well, this is what I got going on. And then they're like, okay, this is your one, two, three, right? Or this is your three, four, five. So again, nope, I didn't have, this is what I need to do from the beginning is because I've been gleaning from what I've been learning and then asking the questions because I don't know what I don't know, which has really been nothing in starting this out. So it's just been like, hey, what am I doing? And they're like, okay, calm down. You got this. Breathe. All right. So this is your one, two, three. All right. I'm doing my one, two, three. Okay. One, two, three is done. What's my next? And they'll be like, all right, this is your four, five, six. I'm like, ooh, okay, I can do the four, five, six. Right. So I appreciate how that they're working with me according to where I am at. Right. So they're not overloading me with all of this information or to where it's just like, hey, they understand that I'm such a novice. And so that's how they're like, yeah, focus on your one, two, three. And then if your one, two, three is good, then let us know where else you need help. Because when I was talking to Lorette, she was like, all right, I got some images for the chiropractor. She was like, use these. It's just like, it's basically like, let me know where you are, right? Help me to locate you. Right? I can help you to help yourself, but being open, honest, and communicative and not taking on this pressure and this weight of I don't know what I'm doing. Yes, that may be true, but there's this support and this help of the community with this vast knowledge to where you're not doing it by yourself. And so just know that it's important to start creating your community because what I've also learned is that your friends and relatives may not understand what you're doing and how you're doing it. And so it's because they don't have this level of understanding or this expertise, it'll be like, why are you doing that? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you sure you know what you're doing? No, I really don't know what I'm doing, but I know somebody who knows what they're doing, right? So keeping yourself surrounded with like-minded individuals. So it's important to, start building your community of other entrepreneurs, right? Letting that be your norm and then setting yourself up kind of what Aaron was saying, right? I was making sure I had his name right. It's in terms of what's going to be like your norms, your daily norms, right? What's going to be your goals, your checklist, and letting that be a part of your new norm as you're branching out and being an entrepreneur, right? So you have to go where your community is and be intentional about your entrepreneurship community because in taking the load off and stop, using the false expectation that, well, of your family and friends, because that's not their norm, right? So let them be your family and friends. This is not your business community. This is not your entrepreneurship community. You be intentional about finding your people with that, and letting, like I said, let your friends be your friends and let your family be your family.
That's a great tip there. And I also want to commend, because you are on, like I said, she's on every session, always asking questions. If she needs help, she asks for it. If she needs guidance, she asks for it. She's very engaged. She goes through the training. So all of that, along with the training and everything else, allows her to be so successful. So we have a few people asking, what program are you in? So she's in the Digital Media Alliance program, and we do have training 3 times a week for that. And it gets, there's a smaller group, so you do have a little bit more attention than some of our other programs. So if you're interested in that, I'll send out information on that later in the replay. But that's what program she is in. All right. Another question. Oh, this is a good one from Matthew. He says, do you have any suggestions for an introvert?
So introvert, I guess I need a
Introvert, so somebody that doesn't talk a lot. So somebody that's quiet and shy. Do you have any tips for a shy person?
That's a very good question. So I guess for a shy person, I would say first is what speaks to you, right? What resonates with you. And so with that, if you're shy, right? So it's just like I would tell you, I was not a talkative person before, so I've kind of morphed into this being. But if you're shy, it's like, okay, realizing what resonates with you in terms of what value do you want to bring, and so how do you want to, so do you feel like if design is going to be your lane, is transcription going to be your lane, like what is going to be your lane, right? So and then also thinking through what means, I would say, are you most comfortable in your communication, right? So if you're not like really comfortable and maybe talking with people, then that's okay. So but if you're more comfortable with communicating by script or by, I would say like writing, then let that be your primary source of how you want to communicate. So if writing is your deal in terms of communicating, then that means that your marketing may look like you're popping into some of these Facebook groups or your or Instagram and saying like, hey, showing them what you do, right? Showing them. So you're providing this sensory experience by not speaking, right? So your sensory experience would be like, oh my gosh, like that is an amazing image, right? That is an amazing graphics. And so it's like, well, and then like, if this is something that you're looking for, if this is something that resonated with you, yeah, contact me now, right? Or even if it's, if you're a content writer, then it's just like popping in like a quick little story or something, or if it's product descriptions, right? So you're showcasing who you are and what resonates with you by where you're most comfortable. So, but if you find that there's aspects of, your business to where maybe you might need to be speaking to people, then guess what? Let me tell you, Fiverr, there's like tons of freelancers. So you probably can find a freelancer for maybe what, a few dollars for some hours, and then let that person kind of be your voice, not voice in terms of, I would say vetting some of your potential clients, right? And so then by the time your client reaches you, they've already kind of gone through this funnel process. And so then it sounds like, for introverts, you're very comfortable more so like a one-on-one. So by the time they've gone through this funnel that you've outsourced, then you're speaking to them more like one-on-one. So it's understanding who you are, what's your comfort level, how you want to communicate, where your genius shows up in your communication, and then where you're not most comfortable, some things are not in your wheelhouse, then outsource it.
Got it. And Matthew, you'll actually like the next presenter, Ken, because he shares some ways that you don't have to be talking to people and you can use different platforms to get that. So you'll pay attention to Ken next. Now, with that, he was also saying, he says, so he's an introvert and he doesn't know all the ins and outs of the industry. And I just wanted to point on that you don't have to, right? So you went in it, I remember the chiropractor, you're like, Lorette, I have to do a proposal, and I'm like, let's work on it, right? But that didn't stop you because you didn't know every single thing to do. You figured it out, right?
Yes.
You figured it out. All right. Let's see. Honey says, this has been awesome. Thank you. All right. So I think that's, anybody else have any other questions? So another person says, I'm not shy, but it's more of the brain freeze, brain fog that goes away with stage fright. I think it gets down with practicing and having good outlining of content. It definitely gets easier, right? The second person you talk to, the third person, and now your new clients, it's easier than the chiropractor, your very first one. Am I right?
Yes, very much, very easy. And then I'll also say, so what I've also done, I'll just tell you. So sometimes it's easy for me to kind of write out, I would say I'll write a script out, right? I'll write out my words. And then sometimes I'm reading my script. And then what I've also done, even before I would speak to potential clients, because I kind of, I'm writing things out. So I will do, actually, I will kind of do a run through. I have like some really good friends. I was like, hey, I need your ears, right? So as I'm reading, so that kind of gives me some practice to where I'm comfortable with what I'm saying. That is also, is resonating with me. I'm getting feedback from my friends to say, I just need you to sit and listen and tell me like, what do you think? So then they'll tell me like, oh, you know what, I probably would change this wording here. Or, like, okay, so when you're kind of getting to this part, you might need to slow down a little bit. So again, I'm using, I'm letting my friends, also my community at times, being a support, but I'm clear to say this is what I'm looking for and how I want you to support me. But then also Lorette has been really good to say, find an accountability partner through our, maybe through the Learning Tube or through the digital agency or whatever, program that you're working with them and they're mentoring you. So find an accountability partner to where you can kind of run through some ideation, run through, this is what I'm thinking, what I want to say. And so then that way, if it's kind of maybe rehearsed with someone listening, then when you actually speak to your client, then you have a boost of confidence and also a boost of surety to where, all right, I know what I'm saying, my thoughts are together, I've run through this once, I've done a rehearsal, so now I'm ready.
Yes, good. So Rich says role playing, yes. So Billy says it's stage fright, like when we were in our younger years talking to girls. Yes. All right. Okay, well, oh, one more thing. MJ says, how did you determine your best virtual assistant help? I guess that what things your virtual assistant would help you with, I'm guessing.
Yes. Okay, I can answer that. So I will just tell you that the virtual assistant, how she presented, and basically when Alicia was saying like what her skill sets were, that told me, that was like, oh, that's who I need. So a lot, and Alicia's been really good, and also Lorette. If you're saying, again, I've always asked like, well, I need this, and then it was like, okay, if you need a VA, then we know because they're already in the industry, they're in the world, and what I appreciate is that they're live doing what they're also teaching, right? So it's not just them doing textbook. They're giving us like real time information, real time knowledge, real time training. So again, VA, they're like, well, making sure, they'll say, well, make sure you look for this, make sure you ask for this. But if this is what you're wanting and what you're needing, I may know someone to connect you to. So again, everything that I've gotten, VA, what am I doing? My next steps, I've always just got that through Lorette or Alicia.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. So thank you so much. You've been such an inspiration. Everybody loves you. And we appreciate everything that you've shared with us. Continued success to you. And I know you will have it. So thanks again. Say thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you. All right. The next, she was wonderful, wasn't she? So I'm so happy that she was able to share her story and her experiences. Let's see. Rich says, yes, ask what you need. Annie says, very impressive. Yes, she was great. Yes, she was. Okay, now we have one more person, and I hope you're still here. Ken, let's see. You are. Ken, are you ready? Okay. All right. So this is our last presenter guest that we have. And this is Ken. Ken, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Hey there, Ken. So Ken is part of our Insta Digital Agency program, and he is doing fantastic. when it comes to getting clients? Hey there. All right. And one of the reasons why I wanted to bring Ken in, because Matthew was actually asking something about like, how can introverts do this? So you're not like going out and talking to people. And I know there's some things that you're doing just sitting at home, right?
Yeah, pretty much most of the stuff I'm doing, I'm just sitting at home right now.
Okay.
I live in a small community to start with, so we don't
Okay.
have a lot of networking groups and things like that that I can go out and really spread what I'm doing.
Okay.
So everything that I have to do, I have to do online.
Got it. So before we talk a little bit more about that, give me a little bit of background. Have you done anything like this before? You've experienced in internet marketing, or what's that?
So I started website design in 1995. Yeah, if you think about it, that's pretty much when the internet really first came out.
Yeah,
So I was doing Notepad edits on HTML.
I was
So
doing that too.
all the way up through the 90s, I was doing website work for myself. I was in high school, so I did it mostly for friends and things, for little stupid websites. Then 1998, got out of high school, went to college for a semester, said that's not fun. So I started a business. I did a consulting firm. I website design, IT development, infrastructure design. I did it all, ran that for about 15 years. And then I shut it down when there were some business issues in Maryland, and it was a interesting time.
Okay.
So we shut the business down. I floated for a year. Then I went to work for Microsoft. Left Microsoft about 5 years ago, and most recently I left the VA about 6 months ago.
Okay.
I'm an entrepreneur, always have been. So working for Microsoft was fun, but it wasn't what I wanted to do, which is why I switched. Um, when I left the VA, I've sworn off full-time employment, so to say. So right now I have about 6 different projects going to make sure that I don't ever have to put my resume out and go back to a 9 to 5 job. Uh, but,
Gotcha.
but that means now I'm working 20 hours a day instead of 8. But is what it is.
Right.
So,
Okay, so what strategy, so you attend like all of our sessions. I know you're always there and you're asking questions and you're very engaging. You're always in the Facebook group helping people out. So definitely appreciate you for that, asking questions, posting, the things that you're doing. So right now, I know that you are using a strategy, one of the strategies that we talked about in the training, and you've been incorporating social media for some of the ways that you're getting clients. Let's talk to us about how you're using social media to get clients.
simple. I have about 1,000 friends on Facebook, and I know a lot of them are small business owners or people that have started in the last 2 years have started a business because of the pandemic. So I go in about once a week and I'll make out a post and I'll just say, if you started a business this year and um, need help, let me know what I can help you with. I don't specifically say, I do websites, come talk to me. Because I know about 400 website designers.
Right.
They're all on my friends list and they'll know the same people that I know. So it's easier if I just say, what needs do you have for your business? And they'll come to me. Sometimes I get crazy stuff like I need a cleaner to come in and clean the office. But they're still talking to me. Most recently I reached out, or I posted, I think it was, yeah, I made a post yesterday. I said, do you have a new startup this year? The pandemic has created the opportunity for many startups to start their own gig or their own full-time business at home. One thing every business needs today is web presence. Reach out to me to make 2022 your best year. And that's all I said. I've got a meeting tomorrow with a woman who is launching her business this spring, and she wants to talk about services.
Nice.
So each time I post, I apologize for the bird.
No, it's okay.
He's decided to be talkative today. But each time I make a post, I usually get anywhere from 3 to 5 responses. Sometimes none of them buy, sometimes all of them buy. But it's little things. It's
So
the
I love the
personability of
fact,
it.
I mean, I want you guys to pay attention to how simple this is. And he's just posting something on social media. He's not making some big presentation. He's not going out talking and this and this. So there's different ways that you can find clients. That's why I was strategically picking who was speaking today, because of the different ways, different strategies that they're using. And this strategy is so simple. And a lot of people may say, well, I don't know any of my friends have businesses. Well, you don't know, right? Maybe they started something and you don't know. Maybe they know somebody that knows somebody else. You don't know, right? You have to take that chance, and you'd be surprised at how many people respond. Were you surprised with your response when you posted?
Oh yeah. Yeah, when I made the first post, and within 3 minutes, I had 3 people in my inbox asking me for service. It floored me, because at that time I didn't know that many people in my group were getting into their own businesses.
Exactly.
You
Most
know,
people don't, right? You don't know until you ask,
yeah.
right?
I think within the first week of the program, I had gotten a logo client, social media um, services client, and a web client.
Nice,
So
nice. Just by making a simple post. So somebody was asking, are you posting on your business page, your personal page, groups? Where are you posting?
everywhere. I'll post on my personal page first. I'll post under my media page when I want to go to people that are outside of my friends. I will go into local groups. The one that I posted this in was a Berkeley Springs Business Network. It's just a local network for local businesses. And I'll go in there and I'll make the post. Um, you can gauge, or you can gear your post to limit how many people see it, or open it up to the public and everyone can see it. If you pay for your ad, you could do that as well if you're using your page. I personally don't like to put money out for that
You
because
haven't
so
needed
far
to
I
yet.
haven't needed to. Right.
Right. Awesome. And so these jobs that you're getting, you got the logo. Obviously, you said you know websites, but like the logo, are you outsourcing? You're hiring people for that?
Yes. Yeah, I did. I followed the steps in the Insta agency. I went on Fiverr. I found a artist. I reached out to my customer, had them answer the questions that came in the SOP. I shot them over to the artist. The artist got back to me within 24 hours. I got the logo over to my customer. He liked it, signed off on it, and we were done.
Simple as that. And where did you make a nice little profit on that?
On that one, it was nice. I had really discounted it because I was just starting out and I
It
wanted to
started,
see
yeah.
where we were. But you know, the process was very simple.
Great. And now that you did that first one, you know that the next one that you can do, you can definitely charge much more for it. And, because now that you have the process down and you have a case study and so forth,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I come from an old school methodology. I used to design websites. That meant I was the guy who would draw out the storyboards. I would design every page. I would go in and do all of the coding. If it was a WordPress site, I would create the entire template. The last website client, I did the basic uh, user experience. And once I had it, I used Adobe Experience, or Adobe XD.
Okay.
Once I had the look and the layout the way that the customer liked it, I went out on Fiverr. I found a designer who could create it or take it from XD to WordPress, send it over to him, and in 3 days we had a fully live website. And it cost me $100.
Quick, 3 days, $100. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So fantastic. So question, somebody was asking about your posting strategy. She said she works full time and she's concerned maybe about the employer seeing their posting. Do you have anything on that?
Well, first, do you have a non-compete with your employer? What is your situation with that employer? Don't do anything that your employer can turn around and say, "Hey, you can't have a side business." Definitely check with them first, and let them know that you have a side business if you don't have any other restrictions. Um, Honesty is always the best policy. If you go out and you shoot out a post, this employer sees it and fires you, well,
I
I
know.
don't
I
know
mean, we don't
really.
know. I think it depends on the type of business, what you're, like you said, if you work for a website design company and you're posting, hey, I can help you with a website, that's probably not a good idea, right? But if you're a hairdresser and you're saying, hey, I can help you with a website, completely different. But like you said, we don't know your employer. So, honesty is the best policy.
Yep.
Okay.
And if you're truly concerned about that, then I would do it under the page name, so that when the post goes out, it has the page's name and not your personal name attached to it.
Right. Yes. Good. All right. Anybody else have other questions for Ken here? All right. And so Ken, since you started your very first post and your last post, have you learned anything along the way? Have you made any changes or anything like that?
No, I really haven't made any changes. I've learned a lot as far as just the process of going to Fiverr. For me, that's really hard to do. I'm a control freak.
Yes.
And my wife has a business, and she needed a logo. So I was spending 6 hours one day designing her logo. And at the 6th hour, I was like, what am I doing?
Exactly.
And I went on Fiverr, I paid a guy $5, and the next day she had a much better logo than I was designing.
Yes.
So it's things like that I'm learning to let go.
Yes. I think a lot of that, I struggle with that too. So Rich said, yes, he can totally understand that. Yeah. But I mean, obviously it makes much more sense. Pay somebody $5, they have the next day, or you waste your time. So those 6 hours that you spent, you could have used that 6 hours getting more clients into your business, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like Ron LeGrand says, make more by doing less.
Yes, love that. Love that. So Bridget is saying, I love that story. I need to learn to let go. Yes. And I'm sure for you, so Ken, if you get a website client, are you doing it or are you outsourcing it?
Depends. The last website was a single page landing page that they needed, and it was something that I could do fairly well.
Right.
So I did it myself. But if I get a larger site, I've already got a couple of people lined up on Fiverr that I plan on outsourcing that to. In fact, the guy that did the conversion has tried to call me 4 times today on WhatsApp to get more clients from me. So I've got people lined up to do that, and I'm going to force myself to hand it over.
Yes. And I think also as you get more, like if you get 10 websites, obviously you can't do all the 10 websites. So you're going to have to start outsourcing those. Yes. Okay. So he's asking when you did your logo for the Fiverr with the Fiverr person, you were the person in the middle, right? Your client had no connection with Fiverr. You're outsourcing.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Do not. You don't even have to mention to the client that you're using Fiverr. Yeah,
no. So
just say
whenever
my design.
I do it, I just say my team. So I'm going to get my team, and that's it. Yeah, they don't talk. All right. So Maria says, how do you know when to outsource? So like Ken was saying, with the website, he had the one website, it was quick and easy, he could do it. If he started getting 10 websites, obviously he can't do it. The logo, that's something that took him 6 hours to do. So obviously that's not a good use of your time. So I think it really depends on you as well. But I mean, I would definitely recommend outsourcing as much as you can if you need to do that to scale your business and to get your business to grow.
And you can monetize it. If a Fiverr design artist is going to cost you $15 to do the logo, what is your hourly rate? Are you going to be $15 an hour and do it in an hour, or are you going to take 6 hours to do a semi professional design? Outsource it when you can.
Yes. All right. Let's see. Do you offer social media? Was one of the questions. Do you do social media management? Is that something you offer?
That is one of the items we offer. Yeah.
Okay. And how do you screen the people that you are hiring?
First, look at the black book.
Yes.
That's primary. Second, I look at the star ratings. I try to stick between 4.9 and 5, and the more reviews they have, the better. If you get from somebody who has a 5-star rating but he only has 3 clients, I would look at somebody that has 300 clients and a 4.9 star rating over the 5-star rating. And always reach out to them. You can always reach out and talk to them, ask them questions, ask them anything you want before you hire them.
Right, definitely. Good, good. And then let's see. So Janaya is saying, can you create a Facebook page without it being attached to the person who creates it? I'm trying to set up an auto repair shop Facebook page, website, logo, the whole works. So the way that we do it is that you would create it, and then you would give admin access to the owner or whoever that is, and then you can remove yourself if you're not doing it anymore, if you're just creating it and leaving. But you can create it as an admin, you do all the work, then you add them as an admin, and then you can take yourself off if needed.
Yep.
Okay. And congratulations on that. Is that a client that you have, Janaya, with the auto repair? That's awesome.
Yes, congrats.
See. Yeah. Yes, she says thank you. Yes, it is awesome. All right, Latoya, you're asking, can you join Freelancing Genius, then transition? Yes. So we will, like I said in the replay, I'm going to send whatever, the different programs that we've talked about today. That's not really what this was about. I wasn't here to really promote the programs, but if you want more information about it, I'll definitely send that information out, because as you can see, we're getting some great success stories here. Okay, Billy says, do you have a list of screening questions for Fiverr? I mean, so Ken just gave some examples of things that he looks for when he's hiring people. And as far as screening questions, I would say that it depends on the project and what you're trying to do. Like for a logo, I don't really think you need to ask screening questions. If you're doing something that's a larger project that involves a lot more, maybe you do have some specific questions that they need to be an expert in. Ken, do you have anything on that?
No, just like what you said. Depending on the project, what type of questions you're going to ask the artist.
Yeah.
I didn't have to screen or ask questions when I looked for the logo artist. When I did the website conversion, I did reach out and ask them what they did or what their process was for converting. But that was more for my own edification than it was for screening. So.
All right. So, and one thing that I like to do is I definitely like to message them before I hire them to see, how they respond, their response time, if they're answering my questions. So, just do your due diligence on them. Look at their reviews, look at their gallery, ask them questions that you have, and then do it. I mean, honestly, 100%, you're not going to get 100% success rate with every person that you hire. They're human, they're not robots, right? So you may hire somebody that doesn't work out, but, that's very rare. We have hired people that haven't worked out, but then I just hire somebody else, right? So it'll happen, but it doesn't happen often.
Yeah, I have had one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then you move on. You just find somebody else.
But it was probably my fault because I didn't read the small, tiny black print that said that he had 15 customers already. So.
Okay. Yes. So you learn, right?
Yeah. All
right. Let's see. So Rich is saying most of your prospects come from social media. Are you at the point that you've gotten any referrals yet?
No, not yet.
But I believe that you would be leaning towards that. So, once you get more and more clients, and especially when you were saying you were in a small community, right? So word will definitely get around. So for sure. That's how we get a lot of our clients, is from referral and word of mouth. And I know Aaron was talking that that's where he gets a lot of his as well. So yep. Good. All right. Anybody else have more questions for Ken? One of the things that I wanted to point out with Ken as well is that he took a simple strategy that we talked about and he implemented it, right? You're not going to get anywhere if you don't implement. So I think that's one of the key things that I wanted you to take away from Ken as well, is implement things, right? When you learn something, see what you can do and get it going, implement it and follow through with it. He posted one time and he saw the success and he posted again. And then he said, hey, where else can I post this, right? And he posted it in other places. He saw that it was working, so he kept going with it. So congratulations, Ken. And Rich says, yes, get over the bumps in the road and keep pushing, definitely. So Ken, do you have any words of advice for people just getting started?
Yeah, actually, The worst anybody can ever say is no. And they're not saying no to you personally, so don't take it personal. That has been something that I've struggled with, because as a control freak, uh, I really take pride in what the work that I do. And if somebody says no, or they turn me down, I feel like they're turning me down personally. And you have to get over that. You're in business to be a business. You're not in business to make a whole bunch of friends and make everybody think that you are the greatest web designer on the planet. So the worst that someone can say is no. So put it out there, and if they don't read it or they don't respond to it, wait a little while and put it out in a different way.
Yes, definitely. And I love that tip because I remember when I first started in internet marketing and I had my first course that I launched and my first refund, I was like, oh my God, shut it down. I don't want to do this anymore because I was personally hurt by that, right? But you're going to get rejected. It's going to happen. There's some people that are going to say no, but then you're going to get those clients that love you and are going to say yes and keep coming back and keep getting those referrals. So don't take it personal. I love that. That's a great tip, Ken. Keep on moving. So thank you so much. We have one other question here. Oh, Patty was asking, is everybody that's on this call in the Learning Tube Facebook group? You are, right, Ken? I believe everybody is. No? If you're not, Ken will be in it now. So I'll make sure that everybody is that was in here is in the Facebook group. All right, in the Learning Tube.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Ken. Appreciate it. Anything else? No? Good.
Nope. That's it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yep.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed these sessions. Let's see. I hope everybody enjoyed these sessions. This was kind of a break from all the other webinars that we've been doing with some of the different opportunities that we've been presenting to you, but we wanted to bring this to you so you could hear it directly from students just like you and what they're doing and how their success is going and words of wisdom as well. So I thought it was a great session. I want to thank everybody that joined us, all of our guests, and all of you that came here today. So we have here everybody saying thank you, congratulations, and everybody loved it. So thanks again, and have a great rest of the week, and we will chat with you later and see you inside of the Learning Tube group. I will send the replay out, and that's it. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.